owner of the Florida Vibe and founder of the ACL and Florida Gulf Coast League. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ryan. Okay, so Ryan, it is so good to have you here, and I can't thank you enough for carving some time out of your day when you are headed to one of the biggest softball tournaments of the year, the Clearwater Invitational. I know that coming up this morning, we've got some big matchups. Jordy Ball and Nebraska are about to play. You have to tell me, is this going to be Central Time? I saw that it was at 10 a.m. Are they playing right now or is it
Yeah,
Central?
they just started. It's Eastern time.
Okay, it is
So yeah,
Eastern
they just
Time.
started. Yeah, Eastern time. So they just started, and yeah, last year I got the pleasure of seeing Jordy throw last year too, and she hit a home run in the lineup as well. So she's quite the athlete. She's on another planet.
Yeah, a completely other planet. So if you're listening right now, just know that Ryan has made a really big sacrifice being here with us today, as right now he's in the car headed to Clearwater. And instead of being right now with Jordy Ball and watching that game, he is talking to us. So big
Right.
sacrifice there.
Awesome. Glad to
Um,
do it. Happy to be
Yeah,
here.
thank you so much. And when we're looking around the tournament, I know
Sure.
that a lot of times in these type of settings, you're doing administration type stuff. Are you right now a fan, or are there some things going on for you behind the scenes?
No, all the above. For those who don't know, Tori, I don't even know if you know this, but since 2020, we've been operating the American Collegiate League College Summer League system. We founded the Florida Gulf Coast League back in 2020, and it has just exploded through the years. Now we have six collegiate leagues throughout the summer around the country. So the work here at the ESPN Invitational and last week at the NFCA and other tournaments, it's an opportunity for me to visit with the coaches that send their college players to all the leagues throughout the year. So, and then I get to meet new coaches and new staff members and new potential players to come to the summer leagues over the summer. We've seen people like Riley Boone and Michaela Edenfield and you name it. They've all been here. Haley Lee, so Shannon Sale, they've all been to the summer leagues before. So some of it's worked like that. And then, of course, obviously being a professional team with the Florida Vibe, we're looking for the next crop of professional players to hit our next year roster, and also, scouting for the future. We do work behind the scenes to look at freshmen, sophomore, juniors, people that down the ladder, people that we want to put on our radar for years to come. So I would say it's definitely a work event.
Yeah, and so far the Florida Gulf Coast League, if you're not familiar with the background, so started as just a baseball summer league, but then you guys decided to take on softball as well, and it grew so much that you wanted to give, of course, opportunities around the country for more ladies to be able to play throughout the summer. So you expanded. Now they're a regional team. Tell me a little bit now, if let's say that there is a young lady listening that is about to go into college or she's had a season under her belt, what is your message to her about what you guys offer and the importance of getting those reps in the summer?
Well, I mean, so I'm gonna date myself a little bit here, Tori. So I was a baseball player. I didn't have girls. I actually had two boys that played baseball. And but back in the late '80s, early '90s, when I played collegiate baseball, our coaches made us go play summer baseball. It wasn't like, oh yeah, let's take a break. I threw 100 innings my freshman year, and they still made me go pitch in the summer league. So no rest, right? But I will tell you that over time, baseball has been doing this for years. And when I first got into it in 2020 with softball, I had no idea. I mean, I had watched the College Summer World Series, so I knew it was big. But it's actually my wife. So we were actually our son was playing junior college baseball here locally, and we just happened to be in the bleachers for a night game, and the State College of Florida softball players came into the ballpark and were sitting next to us and talking about their summer plans and this and that. And then my wife goes, hey, do you think there's something like what you guys do for the guys for these girls? Because they're sitting there talking about going to like Jamaica and all this other stuff. And she thought they'd be playing softball. And I went home and Googled it, Tori. I couldn't find a summer league known to man anywhere, history, whatever. So I said, hey, this is what we're going to do. So we started up a different division for softball. And then God just totally blessed us. I mean, we had 7 teams in COVID, And that was a story in itself just because it was COVID. We were like 2 weeks away from shutting it down only because the governor hadn't opened the state yet. And then I hate that COVID happened, obviously, but it was a blessing in disguise because when everything else was shut down, we were running. And so we had just so many players that hit the registration forms to come play softball. And then it's just been history ever since. I mean, in 2021, our second season, I mean, it was crazy. We had Team Mexico and Team Canada called me about playing some of the FTCL teams to get some experience to play for the Olympic that year. That July was the Olympics, and
Yeah.
so I said, sure, let's do it. And so we had Canada down here in Mexico, and they're playing these teams, and everybody's like, hey Ryan, you know who that is pitching, right? I'm like, I don't know. Well, who? Well, that's Danielle Laurie. She's pitching on your mound right now. And I'm like, well, who's Danielle Laurie? And and, and they're like, well, that's Lonnie Alameda over there pitching coach. Well, who's Coach Lonnie? What's she do? I mean, and so I could go on and on about stories just like Vic Hayward. Hey, that's Vic Hayward in right field. Well, who's Vic Hayward? So so it's
Oh my goodness.
and that's how it
Danielle
started.
Lowry,
Yeah,
Victoria Hayward, that is
and that's how
insane.
it
So
started. And so I'm sitting here like everybody said, you got to pinch yourself. You got to pinch yourself. I'm like, okay, so that was the moment in time. I just said, hey, you know what? It is it just the Olympics that the girls get to play after? Because us the guys, we got to play minor league baseball, or professional baseball. And I didn't understand why there wasn't a college or a pro circuit for the girls. So that's when the Florida Vibe started, August 2nd, 2021. That's when we incorporated our pro team, and we had no clue what we were doing. We just said, you know what, we're going to do it. No idea where God has taken it, but here we are 6 years later.
I love hearing this background because you guys went from trying to create a league that the world had never seen before during COVID, basically. And then that turns into not only a summer league, but then regional teams all over the nation. Then you guys start a professional softball team. And then now, I mean, I just saw that you guys are adding a minor league as well. So, I mean, just take me through what you've learned about women specifically in this sport and why you were so willing to be like, yeah, I'm going to get behind this. I'm a baseball guy, but you know,
Yeah.
what
Believe
drew
it or
you to softball?
yeah. Believe it or not, there's a lot of baseball guys out there like me that do want to give back. Okay. So that's part of the cool story is dealing with all of us who have played before. There's an opportunity and they all want to give. But back in the day, I'll tell you, it really started during the COVID season because in our baseball league that we had that year in 2020, we had to go through all kind of county protocols and things like that with hand wiping and bench wiping, and you couldn't share glasses. If you remember all that stuff in 2020, we had to do different things, and the county was like, okay, well, you can use the park only if you do this X, Y, and Z. So we said, yeah. So we did all that. Well, um, during the baseball season, we probably had about 15 to 16 guys actually test positive for COVID and just go home. They said, "Yeah, we're done." Mom, dad said I got to go back for 2 weeks. Time to go. Sorry. And then we had 85 college NCAA girls there, and if they had tested for COVID, they were going to tell you that they had it. If they told you that they were going to tell you had the sniffles, if they were hurt, they sure dang weren't going to sure tell you. And we had zero girls go home. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, I get it now. Girls are tougher than guys. And that's kind of what got it for me because the girls never had the college leagues before. So they knew the opportunity and they were not going to let something or someone take that away from them. And I just appreciated that. I was like, okay, us guys, we take it for granted that we have numerous opportunities to play. Numerous independent ball, minor league ball, post grad, you can do everything. And girls didn't have anything. So it was really started out as a business, but then it just became a passion just because I saw the work that they put in and then the joy they had, win or lose, they were having a blast. And the guys, it's like, it's no big deal, just another day, go home and do, go out. I was like, there's something wrong with this pitcher. So, and then so that's where it came from, and Tori, that's where it morphed into. So now it's just been, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just been God just opens doors, and then he closes the door and opens another one that's bigger, and then a bigger door, and a bigger door, and a bigger door. And I don't know how to explain it other than just ride the wave. And and that's what's been going on. So you mentioned the minor league system. I've always in my heart had wanted the American Collegiate League system, the college leagues, to be hopefully maybe a minor league system to the professional space one day, and that would encourage all kinds of players to get in the college scene. Because just so you know, again, I don't know if you or your audience familiar with, but and I used to be a scout for the Seattle Mariners, and a few years ago, Major League Baseball decided that they were going to cut some minor league markets. They were going to cut back their minor league markets. And they moved the Major League draft from early June to late July. So why did they do that? Well, the markets that they cut are now MLB draft summer collegiate wooden bat leagues. So MLB started to invest in wooden bat summer leagues. Why? To send all their resources to one area or one league during the summer to make better decisions and move the draft to July. Now they can really watch a college player in a college league setting other than just going from stadium to stadium, getting resources there when they can have them all in one setting for a month and a half. So that was the angle that I kind of took. Like I'm thinking, okay, well, if I follow the same model, the ACL could be the college leagues and that could be the pro scenario. So to get us started, what we decided to do was have a post grad division of the American Collegiate League. So it's called the APCL, and it's the American Post Collegiate League. And so we have invited those post collegiate players that are still interested in playing the game. This year, we're going to have the inaugural season in Kansas City at our Midwest Gym Collegiate League in Kansas City, also home to the Kansas City Diamonds. And they're going to get a chance to play the collegiate summer league rosters there in the Midwest League, but also play the Diamonds. So that's going to be pretty cool. And also breaking news. Well, I shouldn't tell you. There's going to be
Oh, you have to.
there's going to be there'll be a new pro team market announced very very soon. And you'll see. It won't be for 26, but they're going to be part of the 26 system a little bit, and you'll see what I mean by that when it gets announced, and you'll understand. But um, we're excited about that APCL to where if you're a college player that's just graduated and a PSL team hasn't, professional softball league team hasn't picked you up, we've agreed as ownership of the professional softball league that if we need a roster player during our summer season or somebody gets hurt, we need to go down there and pick up another player. We're going to use that APCL to do it. You're just not going to go sign somebody randomly. You're going to go down there in that system and pull them up and give them a contract. So that's kind of the start of it. We see this year as kind of being the incubator year of it, see how it goes, and then next year make it actually like more of a minor league system to where the Vibe will have a minor league team, the Diamonds will have a minor league team, the Smoke will have a minor league team. We're getting into that realm, but we have to kind of walk before you run, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course that makes sense. And the cool thing is, so far looking at it, you guys have so much background between the owners in professional baseball, where, like you said, you've been a scout and you've done player development, and you've got BP from the Cincinnati Reds. He's been a player, and
Yep.
Ricky, he's just so aware of all of the business side of stuff as well. So I feel like you guys have such a framework kind of to start putting this thing together. Looking at that framework, obviously, with MLB, you've got a lot of the conferences. So I have to ask, when I'm looking
Or,
at, there's three Florida teams right now. You guys have a team in Atlanta, and then you guys have made sure to kind of spread yourself out throughout the nation. Are you guys looking to eventually have like a conference set up where you guys would
yeah.
be divisions?
Yeah. So, and again, the next couple announcements that you'll see leading up to summer of the new markets coming in 27, we'll even push that alignment even further. Our goal is to be like a Central East and West division of MLB. So the Southeast will have its own region where, Tori, the business model, I mean, in the pro space, I mean, you got to be really careful of how you manage your business and your finances. And if you're in the airline business and hotel business, you can go broke pretty quick if you're flying all around the country, doing this kind of stuff, unless you just have deep pockets and, money to burn. But that's not sustainable. You have to have a business plan that's willing, and we feel like, obviously, if you want to travel, you can. That's the beauty about our teams, but we will have a regionalized system to where the Florida teams, the Georgia teams, and the Alabama teams will all we'll all play each other in the Southeast without having to maybe get in airlines and go, travel everywhere. And then, of course, in the Midwest, we'll have more teams there too. And so the idea is to be regionalized. So when you think of the ACL, the college league system, if you go to look at what we've done there, we've done that. So, we have the Golden Bay Collegiate League in California. We have the Lone Star State Collegiate in Austin, Texas. We have the Midwest Collegiate League in Kansas City. We have the New England Collegiate League in Boston. We have obviously the FGCL here in Sarasota, Bradenton, and then we have the Chattanooga, the Scenic City League. Well, those are just what we call regionals of the ACL. And what they do is they have teams, multiple teams in that region league, and they all play each other. They don't have to worry about traveling. They play in one spot. That's not necessarily the pro model, but what I'm talking about is we hope that we can catch other regions in the north and the out west in this system that you can play more regional teams, like we did in minor league baseball. And therefore you're not traveling, on Delta Airlines every 5 seconds. And that's been our goal, and I think that's what you're going to continue to see.
Yeah, you just had to throw the Alabama in there. I caught that. I heard it. Yeah, so we're gonna be definitely keeping up and watching there. With the travel, I just got back off of a flight, so I totally understand one, what that market looks like and those prices, and two, how difficult sometimes it can be on top of, playing to just be traveling. But when you guys first started the Florida Gulf Coast League, I
Mm-hmm.
was actually um, coming out of my senior season, and um, I was, looking at what you guys were putting together, and everyone was like, "You've got to go play in Florida." And so I was actually hoping to start doing that. Ended up tearing my ACL that summer,
Ah,
so that didn't work out. It's funny now that the league is called the ACL. That's a little
that's kind of funny, isn't it?
ironic, but
Right?
when you're, looking back at when you guys first started with the vibe too, I saw
Mm-hmm.
that your son now is married to a softball player. Can you tell me the story about how those two met?
Oh my
Was
gosh,
it
sure.
through the vibe?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had signed Danielle Watson after her senior season, and she did go play AU as well. But we signed her to a short-term deal before her AU season, before she had to go, because it was a little different back then with AU than it is now. And so she came and played a couple, 3 weeks with us and loved it. And then the next year she played a full season with us, and that's when they met and they started hanging out. And then last year they got married. So yeah, pretty cool story there. And just so you know, she is actually the team owner of the Florida Breeze.
Wow, I did not know that.
Well, you breaking news, now.
So you guys are, yeah, you guys have just a whole system going with all of this stuff. That's awesome. I know, just looking at it, like with everything that you guys are putting together so far and with the minor league and the major league, there has to be so many girls that are looking now
Mm-hmm.
and see this whole structure with all of these opportunities coming. Have you guys had a lot more younger players, that are just starting to play the game, um, talking about being that girl that's playing professionally? Like, what's the interaction been like with the young kids that have been in the area?
Are you talking about like the college players with the pro players, or all the youth around it all? In theory, being around both of them.
All of the youth, really. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the benefits that we have in Florida that softball is like baseball; it's all year round, right? So there's a million travel ball teams in our area, in the Tampa Bay area, which makes it great for for the fans. And it's a little difficult getting everybody rounded up for the summer because, as you know, travel ball takes a really big summer tour system. They're gone every week, it seems like, but we get our fair share of the youth around the game and around the pros, and it's really fun because we'll do interactive camps with the pros when they're here, and also part of our business model. We actually, so you may know UMR Sports Complex.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 tunnel systems there, and we let our pro girls actually do lessons there, revenue expense free. So the girls will actually, do catching camps or hitting camps or, whatever. And it's a way for them to earn extra money while they're here at the complex. And they'll get a good little following of the girls that will actually really, come up and play. And then they'll come watch them in the game. It's really cool. They get their own little fan base after they teach them how to play. It's really cool. So, and again, that's from our local level, but at the national level, we try really hard in our schedule, Tori, to not just have home games at our home stadiums or whatever, just like the other teams do, but we also pick very big tournaments where the youth are already at. For example, you'll see us in Kansas City playing at the Top Gun Invitational.
Hmm.
Last year we did the same event. We had 1,500 people in the stands every night. Mainly youth watching these girls play, watching Taylor Pleasance hit monster home runs everywhere.
She's insane.
She's insane. She's like Jordy Ball. She's on another planet too, offensively. But and then, then we'll go like this year, we're going to the Atlanta Legacy in Atlanta. And that's where we'll be playing the Smoke at the Atlanta Legacy. And that's, they'll have 320 youth teams there watching the pros. And then we have another big event in Orlando that we bring the Florida Heat and the Atlanta Smoke and myself. And the Diamonds will be in a town. We have 4 teams playing in that shootout. And that's a massive youth tournament in Orlando at the Boomba Soldiers Creek facility in Orlando. So another big youth tournament. That's the key, Tori, is that you have to go where the youth are. You're not, I mean, yes, you can survive, somewhat on your local fans and things like that, but at the end of the day, like you just got to go where they are. Like you just have to. And so we've done, I think, a fairly good job over the last couple of years or so, and incorporating in this year's schedule too, is those multiple youth tournaments that we can get our girls exposed to the youth, even on a national level.
Oh, 100%. You talk about going where the youth are, the tournaments and also social media, which I've seen you guys, like as soon as you guys started the league, you hit the ground running on social media, trying to put things together. That timeline, for me, I know you guys had definitely been putting things in the work for a long time, based on just how professionally it was put out there, but that those couple of months, right around January, more like couple of weeks, what all went into tying up those ends, getting roster sets, and putting out stuff on social media?
Sure. So right after the summer season was over in 2025, we all started to communicate, and we had already been in touch with like Ricky and Tommy from the Chill. We'd already been in contact with them about a futuristic type of approach. So we knew a little bit in the fall about what we were planning and doing, and so we just needed our moment to do it. And as you know, in the softball world, especially college space and pro space, the big party is the NFCA. The ACL is a major sponsor of the ACL. We're in our second year of a 3-year contract with the NFCA, and we're proud partners with Carol, and her team does a great job with the NFCA, and they always make us feel very warm and welcome every time we see them. But we wanted to make a splash at the NFCA because that's when all the hoopla is and the fireworks go off and all your colleagues are there. And so that's when we dropped the news of the PSL. We just were waiting for that moment to do it on the first day of the NFCA. So we would have some discussions and dialogues with everybody who was there, obviously. And I think that atomic bomb went off or something because, um, I mean, our my phone still hasn't recovered yet from all the stuff.
It's
Um,
fried.
I know, right? But then we got it, and then Ricky did a great job, with social media, and he's fantastic with his stuff. And then, and the Kansas City Diamonds are really good with their stuff, and the Smoke's really good with their stuff, and so we just kind of collaborated on when we were going to do it and how we're going to do it. And then some of the teams already had, like, for example, some of us are a little bit older, like this is our, 5th year. So we already had players already re-signed, right, for going
Right.
into the
Okay.
26th
Yeah.
season. So we already have some of our roster already completed. And then same with the Diamonds, even though they're a new roster, people may not remember this, but in 2025, they did a 3-series splash at their own event in Top Gun Invitational with a Diamonds team. When they announced the pro team, they were all college kids, players playing, but at the end of the day, it was still the Diamonds brand. And that platform that got them catapulted into the 26th season, and they used that entire year to start embracing the community and getting, talking to new players and getting those people, ready to go. And you'll see that again this summer with two of the markets. You'll see them do the same thing, for 2027. But at the end of the day, some of us, like the Smoke, already had signed players. The Rise had some, and we had some. The newer teams you're seeing, like Ricky and Danielle, they're just now getting into it. And, we all collaborate on players. Obviously you've got Athletes Unlimited too. So, there's, there, I'm, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they feel because they don't, I've never talked to AU, so I don't know how they feel.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm happy that there is Athletes Unlimited. Like Michelle Smith and I are like really good buddies. And when I first got in the business, she was like the only person that she lives up here in Clearwater. And so it's like a 45-minute drive. So her and I have lunch all the time and we hang out all the time. And, we talk a lot. And I just pick her brain. I mean, she's her and Dot Richardson. And, I talk to all these ladies that are done this before us. And I just feel like I'm living in a girl's world. So I need to understand what their life was like before and what they want their life to look like after. And it's every time I talk to Michelle, she's like, I'm just so happy there are more and more opportunities for anybody to keep playing their dream. And that's really what our deal is at the PSL is. And again, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm thrilled that there's AU. I'm thrilled that there's more teams in the Smoke and the Diamonds. And I'm not jealous and I don't have any envy at all. I'm very happy that the girls have some options and solutions to get paid now and keep playing. So that's been really what it's been about. So the great thing about college softball and just softball in general, when you look at baseball, for example, there's what 9,000 professional minor league players. I think something. It's some ridiculous
Hmm.
number. And in softball, we don't have. I mean, there's such a discrepancy between baseball players and number of softball players, and there's so
Yeah.
many more softball players available to play, and they want to play, and they're good enough to play, and so that's what makes me excited about it because there's so many good athletes to choose from. And no offense to the college coaches, but a lot of coaches miss a lot of good athletes too along
Yeah.
along the way. And so my job as a scout or a team owner, hey, I'm not, I'm going to go look for that Lindsay Elam. I'm going to go look for that Janet Johns that nobody was wanting. And, I'm going to go look for that player. And those are some studs now. The Grayson Ratcliffes of the world. She's in her 5th year now. She's gotten better every year. And so, the Carmen Greenwoods of the world, give me a break, and so, you know, I'm just so excited because there seems to be so many marquee elite college athletes coming out of college and now they're still elite in pro level. There's so many to choose from. It's actually sad that we can't take them all. So that's what we're trying to do. And that's, there's a business model to it, but we're working towards that. And, are we going to make mistakes? Yes. Is it going to be some growing pains? Yes. But, there's a passion and there's a way, and we're going to continue to do it till the cows come home.
That's so amazing. And when you're talking about NFCA, were you talking about the one in Vegas?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, so many light bulbs went off in my head just now as you were talking about. Okay, first off, it's incredible that you and Michelle Smith just go out and talk and have, lunch and stuff. And
yeah, all the time.
um, she's one of the best. And then you talked about Dot Richardson. I mean, getting to talk to her is insane. I do a lot
Yeah,
of the Liberty broadcasts, and Dot, if you ever need to just like want to run through a brick wall, talk to Dr. Dot Richardson. I mean, she is just like such a joy to be around.
yeah. So
But
funny
sorry.
story about Dot. I'll tell on Dot a little bit because when I first got when the FGCL first started in 2020, and then going into that 21 season, I came up to the same event, the ESPN Clearwater, and I had just a pocket full of business cards. And I remember I told you I didn't know who Lonnie Alameda was in 2021. So, and everybody's making fun of me, like, how do you not know who Lonnie is? So, but anyway, well, Dot was, I had met Dot that day, and she goes, "Hey, come on in the dugout," and she's like introducing all her players to me one by one. And then she grabbed me and said, "Hey, this is Coach Marissa from Missouri. Hey, this is Coach Kenny Jeske from Oklahoma State." She walked me in the dugout, like she didn't care. And honestly, she was one of the big reasons why I was able to get so many contacts in the early years of the FGCL, just because she had no fear. Dot had zero fear, And and she put me right in there. So I'm grateful for that. And and then along the way, I've gotten to know some. Kenny Jeske is one of the best all-time guys in softball. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to talk to Kenny, but he's a class
Haven't.
act. Wonderful human being. Just a good, dear friend, colleague, do anything for you. And I've met like Melissa Lombardi, another coach that has just, and it's so different in baseball because in baseball, when you go scout, their kids and stuff, coaches give you like the evil eye, like, what are you doing, my player? And, but not the college coaches. They're like, hey, come on, let's go have lunch. Let's go do this. I'm like, okay. So very, very different environment. And some of the biggest icons on the planet from softball, you know, Miss Patty Gasso, she's been super nice to me. I remember still to this day, her and Shannon Sale in the dugout at the College World Series, and she's texting me on the phone saying, hey, I got this player, this player, this player. They need to come to the FGCL. They'll call you right after the game. And lo and behold, as soon as the game's over, I got like 5 text messages from players. So, they've all been super cool. And just, I think that's what makes this exciting for me is just because I get to talk to so many awesome people like Michelle Smith that just share in the same, hearing them get excited about it makes me excited, and hearing them say, hey, let's keep going, let's keep running. And I'm like, okay, let me get back on my horse, let's go, and they get me pumped up to do what I do, and then hopefully what we do gets them pumped up too. So it's kind of a full working cycle of the softball environment, all working together in one cohesion to make the game better. That's, if I could sum it all up, that's what it's been like for me.
And I mean, amazing women at the top, and then some of the players too that have come through the vibe. I mean, I know a few, um, Grayson Radcliffe that you mentioned. I mean, the
Yeah.
athleticism on that girl and just her character too. I mean, can't say enough. We played for the same travel ball organization. She was older, but her and then Kara Canetto, who
Oh yeah.
is assistant coach of my alma mater now, and Rachel Roop, who I got to interview as well. I mean, so many just good quality people that have come through the vibe. So
Oh yeah. Neto, we call her Neto. Kara, she's she was one of those players that she took her senior year off, and or not her senior year off. She didn't take the 5th year during the COVID. And I remember Dot telling me about her. It's like, I think this is one of the best hitters I've ever seen. I dread that she didn't take. I wish she would played, but she said you need to take a chance on her, and I did. We did, and she's just been with us ever since. And this is her 4th year. And you want to talk about a player that just, if you're a little girl out there and you want to see what a real pro player does every day and goes about her business, I know we're a little spoiled at the vibe, but like Canetto, like will run out every fly ball, every pop up, every ground ball as hard as she can, and same with Grayson will too, and they just play the game the right way. And Neto just happens to be hit like 390 every year, so and it helps, so she's in our top 2, batting order every year because the girl just gets on base. And she's another one like Grayson. Like seriously, like Michelle Smith told me one time we were up. I don't know if you saw that the Vi played the Florida Gators this past fall, and
yeah.
Ricky was there with me too. He got to see it all because I wanted him to see how we did all this stuff. And I asked Michelle. I said, "Hey, listen, can you come? We had a youth tournament with Top Gun at Newberry, and it was called the Michelle Smith Classic. So we wanted to do a youth tournament in honor of Michelle. And oh, by the way, the Five's going to play on the Sunday matinee against the Gators as one of the Gators expedition. Now, keep in mind, we didn't have our main players. Obviously, a lot of our girls coach college and can't do it, but we call it our fall training. So we invite random people, to see, how, to put it together. And hey, you never know what will happen in the future. And so um, I asked Michelle Smith if she would come and do the ceremonial first pitch at the Gator game. And she said, oh, yeah, absolutely. No problem. Anything. I said, but there's one little caveat. She's like, what's that? And I said, well, I want to put you in full vibe uniform and I want you to throw to the first batter. And she goes, oh, really? And I go, yeah.
Oh
We
my
so,
gosh.
but here's the funny part. So she was okay. I'll do that. So she gets in full uniform. It was such a surreal moment. Tim Walton was amazing on the Gators. They rolled out the red carpet. It was just a super event. Place is packed. Florida couldn't have done a better job. So Michelle gets out there all decked out. She's warming up, music blaring. She gets out on the mound. She throws the first pitch, and I go, stay there. So she actually threw 4 pitches, and she actually got 3 out of 4 strikes, and she was so upset the fourth one she thought it was a little bit closer. She actually said she threw, yeah, I threw my screwball, my fastball, and my rise, and I just wanted to see if I could do it. And I go, you did it. And she goes, the one thing I was more happy about is I looked up on the scoreboard and saw 61 miles an hour. I could still break 60.
Hey.
And she was telling me, she said, don't give up. Here's what her message: don't give up on the player because they're getting older. Her message was she didn't start playing, I think, till she was 16. I think she told me
Wow.
15 or 16. She didn't start playing until then. And she will tell you that her best years were when she got into Japan in the late 20s and early 30s. She became much better, and she kept physically getting better and emotionally getting better. And you can start to see that with like Kaneto and
Hmm.
Grayson. The more these girls start to mature and the more at this level they're seeing, the athletes are coming out and they're getting better, and so that's what's been really cool about like a Kaneto and a Grayson. I mean, they just keep going and they get better.
And I can only imagine. I had heard at one point that some of the connections that you have with the MLB, that some of those guys had sat in and watched Taylor Pleasant's hit. Can you talk a little bit about that story? Because I have to hear it from you.
Okay, so I have a really good friend, Rob Ducey. He played 13 years in the big leagues for multiple teams, but he's here in Clearwater. And Rob also represents one of the belt companies called Core Energy Belts out of Japan and here in the States and California that they sponsor the Vibe. They give all of our Vibe their athletic belts. And so I told Rob, I said, hey, listen, you have to come down for media day. And also Wes Helms, another super friend of mine, played in the big leagues with the Braves forever. He's the CEO of Camwood Bats. And so he was down for media day too. And so him and Rob come down for media day, and they've never had the opportunity to really just have a 3 to 4 hour, in person, face to face with these young ladies. And every Robin and Wes are like looking at me going, these girls are like superstars. They're like crazy. So long story short, so we get to a game. So Rob calls me and said, hey, listen, I got a good buddy, Fred McGriff. Of course, he's a Hall of Famer for the Braves. He lives in the Tampa area. He goes, hey, he wants to come down and check out these girls, see how good they are. I said, absolutely, bring old Fred down. So Fred came down, and before the game, I had Coach Mike. I said, hey, we have a special guest. So every time during the game, like Mike likes to bring like somebody special to give like a little pep talk. So Fred's not your typical social butterfly. He's not somebody that you like to put on the spot to say a few words. But we got him to say a few words. Coach Mike drug him out there. He's like, come on, holy smokes, Fred McGriff, Hall of Famer. Girls, you have no idea who this is. This is an amazing moment in my life. He was a Braves fan too. So he's going nuts. So Fred's out there, Rob's out there, Wes, everybody's out there. And so Fred goes, watching y'all, blah, blah, blah. And he just goes on a little bit. And then he goes, just don't give up, go get them. So we're sitting in the first inning, we're sitting in the front row. And Rob said, hey, this next hitter coming up the bat, just tell me what your thoughts are. So it's Taylor Pleasant. So Taylor Pleasant gets in. Of course, she's left on the left side, and we're sitting on the home side. So on the third base side, so we can see her. As soon as she got in her stance, Fred looks at Rob and me and goes, "Holy smokes, what a specimen!" And in a good way, just physically
Yeah,
tall.
absolutely.
Her balance is insane. Her bat angles are insane. Her concentration is in stupid sync. And she roped the ball about, took a girl's head off. And Fred looked over and goes, she's a first rounder, maybe the first or second pick in the draft, just based upon that swing alone.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love
So you're
that.
talking about a Hall of Famer, talking about a girl like Taylor Pleasance. And of course, Taylor went on to hit 458 with, I don't know, 9 home runs and 40 something RBIs last summer against, Maddie Penta and Kelly Maxwell and Don Gilborn and Autumn Pease. I mean, she didn't do it off just, anything. I mean, these girls our hitters face serious pitching every night. And Taylor hit 450.
And we're gonna let you go in just a second because I know that you're going to see some of this crazy, insane level of play here in just a bit at the
Sure.
Classic. But I have to know, after you have, had a lot of these women come through the Florida Gulf Coast League and you're starting to see some of them right now, are there a few players that stand out in your mind that you feel like have really improved from one season to the next that we need to keep our eyes on because they could
Yeah.
be a Taylor Pleasance or a Grayson Ratcliffe?
Yeah, Jasoni Beecham from Florida State. Watch out.
Watch out.
Watch out for Beecham. She's quite the athlete, and she has been quite the athlete. She came in the FGCL as an incoming freshman, and she's insane athletic, insane good. Mandy Essman from Houston keeps getting better and better. She's a sleeper. I don't know if anybody knows about her, but Mandy Essman from Houston's a crazy good little talent that keeps getting better and better. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I mean, Michaela Infield was one of those players too back in the day. I remember back in 2021 when Michaela was there, she was just kind of like finding her own self. Didn't know really. I mean, she was. You could tell she was an athletic stud.
Hmm.
She did everything right. She just wasn't there yet emotionally. She wasn't there yet. And uh, she was just somebody. And there's a lot of those type of players that I see now in the college level. I'm excited to see them all. We've got. I mean, the Mandy Asmans of the world. I mean, I could go on. I mean, if you're talking about current college players now, I don't want to give all away my secrets because if someone's listening to this, like Ricky or Brandon or somebody like that, I don't want them to sway my players. Uh, but no, I'm thrilled to death. I will tell you something that's been really cool to see, and I promise you, I did not have anything to do with this. I really didn't. The Kansas City Diamonds, if you look at their roster so far, the girls they've signed, I think almost every single one except for two are come from the Florida Gulf Coast League. So I just it's so like Leah Boggs and Savannah Henley and
Hmm.
others. I mean, I'm like Lauren Lucas is another star. I'm just so happy that maybe somebody got in that organization, saw those girls play, and watched their obviously some in college, but I don't know if they know this now. They might know now, but those all girls I just said went to the college leagues and got better. Look, it is a science. If you want to get better, you got to go do extra. It's when nobody's watching is when you get better. Okay, that's the that you don't get to the Major League Baseball and with just doing what you're told to do. You do things extra. You go beyond, and that's what happened to Edenfield. That's what happened to Riley Boone. Riley Boone will tell you that and Shannon Sale. I mean, yeah, they're national champions times two or three, four. But at the end of the day, they use the summer leagues to work on things to get better, and they went back to their universities. And Claire Davidson from Duke, Layla Lamar's a sleeper. Marissa's daughter, watch out for her. Kylie Shaw from Auburn, she's going to be a star. Watch, I'm telling you, these are girls that came in to the summer leagues and just got better, and now they're reaping the fruits of their labor for the extra work they've done now in their college seasons. And it's not hard to see how when I turn on the Twitter or whatever, and I see player of the week of this person or player of the month this person or preseason All-American Reagan Marchant from LA Tech. I'm not surprised. I don't know what everybody's surprised about. These are the girls that spent a little extra time and money and effort and came to the summer leagues and got better. And they went back and they made those clubs better. And now teams are reaping championships. Why? Because those girls got better. And I mean, so there's a million, Tori, that I could tell you about, but we don't have all day. Um, but it's a lot of fun.
And so, right now, if you're a younger player or if you are a college softball player and you are wondering if you've capped off when it comes to your talent and ability, no, you have room to grow. Everyone has it. And some of your best years, this is coming from a professional team owner. Some of your best years are to come and you still have work to do. And that's what it's going to take to get to the next level. So he definitely knows it. I mean, we've talked, you have done MLB scouting. You, like I said, professional softball team owner, founded the Florida Gulf Coast League, which has been one of the biggest developments that we've seen in summer ball. So it's coming from here. So definitely take that advice. And if you are getting to tune in, he right now is in Clearwater at one of the biggest tournaments. He's going to see Nebraska, LSU, Oklahoma State, Georgia, Florida State, Texas Tech. So I cannot thank you enough, Ryan Moore. It has been such a pleasure to have you on the Hot Corner.
Oh, hey, Tori, thanks for all you do. And thanks for having me. It's been a blast. And, if you get a chance and some time today, tune in and watch Mia Williams, also from the FGCL from Texas Tech, and all those players that you just named in those teams. It's going to be exciting to watch this weekend, and I'm excited to be here. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It
As
was
Dot
so
would say,
nice to
quote,
meet you.
as I would say, Dot would end her conversation with quote unquote, "Go God and go vibe."